Archers, evolved monster hit, nobody cares. Cartridge has been improved to the buff icon display, nobody cares. Attack range on the bird increased, that doesn't really do anything important. Flashmire's piercing attack activation cycle has been decreased by 75%, that's pretty significant. Make number of enemies hit by activation of the piercing attack has been increased from 1 to 5. Arrow can attack up to 5 enemies that it pierces through, and it can only attack up to 5 enemies in its path to the targeted enemy. Target attack will no longer affect the arrow's piercing attack limit, and the skill will have a piercing attack that can hit up to 5 enemies in its path. Okay, so that should help mobbing in the early game even more for bowmasters. So I guess I put that down as a small buff for now, but we'll check what the other ones do. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay. Marksman, don't care. Okay, no changes. Pathfinder? Pathfinder should be decent, right? So Raven. Okay, so the damage reduction on all of these memers now. Okay, wait, let me double check here, but that's all for yeah. Okay, and then Raven Tempest user that active evolve has any duration has what? Yeah. If evolve has any duration left remaining after the Raven Tempest ends, it will be resummoned for that amount of time. If you use Raven Tempest with the key down arrow while evolve is active, you can now activate Evolve Tempest, which attacks with a faster whirlwind, dealing 900% damage 6 times and up to 12 enemies for 10 seconds. If evolve has any duration remaining after Evolve Tempest ends, it will be resummoned for that amount of time. A custom command feature has been added that lets you swap Evolve Tempest and Raven Tempest commands while evolve is active. You can right-click the skill to turn the custom command on or off. Certain effect output methods have been changed. I think, I don't know how big of a buff this is going to be for Pathfinders, but I will definitely put it on, I definitely put it at small buff. It might be large, but we'll see if there's any more stuff. How much longer is maintenance? An hour and 43 minutes. Hopefully it should be up. There's been S instead of a Z. Don't tell me you've been European this whole time and you didn't know. Yeah, I'm totally European. S is superior to the lazy Z spelling. Stay mad. You know what Z's lead to? Laziness. Laziness leads to school shootings. Direct line. It's a big jump. It's just an inconvenient truth. I mean, I think you mean laziness? Laziness? Good one. Lasinus. Okay, cool. Mihail. Chernogor's install activity using Soul Assault or Soul Bug with the down arrow key. Social Life custom command is added that you activate Soul Assault in addition to the attack key. You right click. That's just some utility. That's not like any crazy. There's any crazy changes. Evan, 9,000 damage to 10,400. 1.4, 1/5? No, 1/6. 1/7? 1/6. 15% damage. About 15% damage increase. That's pretty big. Dragon Break. Can you not fly in my face? 900 to 950. 1050 to 1200. Zodiac and December constellation you can charge the microstructure is 12 seconds at all levels, and the time when the constellation's power is released is 11 seconds at level 25. Number of hits have increased from 6 to 8, and damage has been decreased from 980 to 950. Attack of the constellation power is released has been decreased. Okay, so that should at least be small buff worthy, maybe even large. Maybe if you see more Evan, it might be large. Lumi, final damage boost increased from 30 to 36. 6% final damage percent. A little bit, hour and a half, Schmuggle. Laciness. Are you talking about lingerie now? Did we get a Roar 3 on my 4th box ever on my 238 buck last night? What should I focus on next if I'm running Oz, or should I move focus elsewhere? Wish it was at 4 and be done completely. Yeah. I mean, Roar 4, Weapon Jump 3, Weapon Jump 4 are like really nice rings. Any other rings you can get, if you can get a lot of rings, you can use them on Dojo to climb Dojo high so that you can use Dojo points later, for example. But it probably means that you don't have to worry as much about Oz. I have Oz only like in content advice only like around level 250 and beyond. So you're pretty far ahead of the curve, I would say, with that, which probably means that you can have one of your ring slots that you don't even have to worry about that much. You to run to the store and grab a few things. Be back soon. All right, see you. I think Zodiac Ray will now get full burst and not just what is left. Yeah, so the duration is shorter, but you will always get the full. You'll get that full 11 seconds whenever it activates. Yeah. So if you were super fast with activation of your Zodiac, it's a slightly shorter duration, I think. But for most people, it's going to be either longer or just in general an easier setup. But they made up for that by improving the damage as well. So the people who were the fastest that they possibly were are already not losing damage because of the damage increase. But for everyone who... But you'll just have an easier time setting it up now and then get basically more damage with the lazier setup. Or lazier setup. Less complex, less railroaded setup. But, you know, people who are already good at it are probably going to apply it in the exact same way, so... Why not change that much for them? $1996, $1997. It's better being equipped over other stat ring, or didn't know that. So not when you're mobbing, right? When you're mobbing, it's going to be pretty shit. But when you're bossing, yeah, most likely. It's usually equivalent to like it's usually better. Like a Roar 3 is, if you're very bursty, Roar 3 is probably better in terms of like total damage output over a long boss fight than a 21-star ring. Sounds like a song you requested? Possibly. Modest Mouse Summer? Might be from a long time ago. 1996. 1997. How's the job hunt going, by the way, Kiza? Oh yeah, let's keep doing this. Absolute kill, so that's Ender. Damage increase from 425 to 455. So that's 30%, so that's a 14th, so that's about 7% final damage on that skill, which is pretty big because it's your DPM skill. Hope they give compensation for 20k Maple points this update, roll rip. It doesn't seem like they're giving compensation, they're just giving it back. You could expect compensation, I think, if it was unable for a extended period of time, like a really long time, and they had to, yeah, like make up for that lost time, basically. But I don't think that they will. Can I link that page? I have 2 pages up right now. If you check exclamation mark classes, you will get this one, and then if you click this thing, this header here, you will get the one on the left. Punishing Resonator, so that's called Ether Conduit, I believe. Damage in Sunfire has been increased from 840 to 900, and damage in Eclipse from 600 to 640. Damage in Equilibrium increased from 800 to 850. Okay. 50 is like 5-6%. Well, just tweaking the damage, so just small buff, I guess. I guess worth mentioning, the combination of the three things. When is Dispatch coming? August 31st. Is for the August 31st update. Backstep doesn't activate special cores for Shade. RIP, they get nothing. Demon Avenger, I would say this consists of a big buff for Demon Avengers, I would say. Double the damage on Dimensional Sword. I should probably change the Dimensional Swords. Not Demon Avenger is not the name of the skill. I think he brain farted there. And then Revenant also double the damage. 9 to 12 lines, 600% to 900%. So from 5.4k to 10.8. And then this one has double damage and also rotating attack cycle decreased. So might actually be more than double the damage. Is there a link? Yeah, exclamation mark classes gives you this link here, and then the top on the AF column will always have the this file here where I keep up to date what are the stuff that has already gone live in Korea in terms of skill changes that we haven't gotten yet. Whenever we get things on here, I take them off the list, and whenever there's new stuff that we haven't gotten yet, I add it to the list. And whenever there's enough stuff to make kind of projections on that there are significant enough changes, I update the column here, which is what I'm doing now with so the eyes on the August 31st update, not taking into account the winter update with the changes to the Cygnus Knights yet. I'll do that at a later date. I'll do that after this update goes live, basically. I want to take it one step at a time. Because if I'm going to say, like, this is how much the characters are going to change, but it's like one is for the next update, and then for the other class, it's for 3 updates from now, it can get a little bit weird, right? So I'm trying to keep those things a little bit, like, separate or per cluster of skills. Okay, Battle Mage, main attack skill, damage ranged increased by pretty much 100%. So I think Battle Mage will be a big buff with that, with just that. I think that'll change their gameplay quite a bit. Final attack effect on cooldown has been changed to be a passive effect on Dark Genesis. That's just nice. But yeah, the attack box increased by 93%. Different attack and different sound effects. So this is going to be the Battle Mage main attack, guys, after August 31st. So that's quite different. Finished blow. No, it's finishing blow for us, I guess. Mechanic, armor. Oh, yes. Prioritize. Yes. I did mean armor with a U. Yes, very true. Which has been approved to prioritize the boss monster with the highest damage. Overtuning final damage was increased from 25 to 34. That's pretty significant. That's 9%, 9 final points on 25. So a quarter loss. It's like 2 point something loss. So it's still like a 6.5% final damage across the board. Nothing for Dark Knight on these patch notes yet, Sir Thick Boy. This column will be updated afterwards, so you'll be able to see. What's up, Annie? Are the fact pets NX credit purchasable or only NX prepaid like some other stuff? I am not 100% on that. I think it might be for both. But if you want to apply the reward point discount, you will have to use prepaid. Exploding armor-piercing shells are affected. Yeah, you mean affected. Piercing shells have been improved to prioritize the boss monster with the highest HP. The damage boost per summoned robot has been decreased from 6% to 5%. Custom command has been added that lets you set the skill effect transparency to apply to the robot skills that are affected by robot mastery. You can right-click the skill to turn a command on or off. Wait. The damage boost per summoned robot has been decreased from 6% to 5%? You're nerfing mechanic? Just to give them some final damage? I mean, I guess technically it'll still be a small buff. I wonder if it's even worth mentioning, though. I guess tiny buff, maybe. Any so nasty? Report? Yeah, report Potato Pod 3 in chat, boys. For nastiness. Xenon, Purge Lob Masquerade. Nice. Snipe mode's damage has been increased from 345 to 360. 15% points. What is it, like 4%? 4% final damage? Bombardment mode's damage has been increased from 344 to 50, and bombardment damage mode from 398 to 405. Bro, is this even worth updating? 6%? This is neutral. Mega Smasher damage increased from 525 to 600. That's worth it, though. That's a lot of damage. Small buff. Kane, Advanced Death Blessing. The additional final damage that Death Blessing executes skills during the merit buff has been increased from 10% points to 18% points. The additional final damage from 10 to 18. And a Grip of Agony number of hits have been increased from 6 to 8, and damage has been reduced from 1200 to 1000. So from 7.2 to 8k, which is a little bit more than 10% extra damage on Grip of Agony. So I'll give that small buff as well. It's pretty nice, because Grip of Agony is a pretty short cooldown skill, so you can throw in quite a bit of those. I can't autocomplete anymore. Rip, I'm not going to bother with the... No, I am, actually. With typing it properly. Hype. Hands. There you go. Pink Scud. Okay, Angelic Buster finally gets a regular attack. Angelic... Would it be big buff? Lately... Yeah, you guys have been good. Yeah. Movement time has been decreased by 14% on Pink Scud. That's nice. So Trinity is now defense with a C, baby. Hell yeah. Trinity now deals 30% damage 6 times and up to 3 enemies instantly. The damage and defense ignore buff, Trinity and Trinity Fusion with this skill hits an enemy have been increased from 10% to 15%, and the maximum number of stacks have been decreased from 3 to 2. Easier to build, easier to keep up, faster to stack. The skill effect. Sound effect have been changed. And the chance that the skill voice is played has been decreased. Oh, you're not going to be yelling every single time? Actually, this alone is like a big buff. CT. Is ST and CT the same thing? It might be, actually. I don't know. Action delay decreased by 36% on Finitude Fituccia. Skills on 25% increased activation when using Trinity on Soulseeker. Okay. And Trinity's split attack has been changed to Trinity attack bonus number of hits increased by 1. Spotlight skills have been improved when areas increased, and the range of where the character is considered to be in the lighting is increased so that can have a similar effect. Dude, Mex is going to be fucking destroying. Mex is going to be soloing basically. He's going to be carrying us. Mascot Familiar, the time to automatically acquire the magic bubble has been decreased from 8 seconds to 3. The issue where there was a delay in acquiring magical bubbles based on network conditions has been alleviated. What the fuck, dude? Where's this information from? Korea update. The Korea update that basically is on the way for us. How many hours? 14 more hours, Annie. You got this. Developer notes. Maximize. Okay, 0. Burst step skill has been improved so that it no longer activates special cores. Attack range increased by about 6% on Power Stomp. Advanced Power Stomp increased by 6%. Just to be closer to the character. Jumping Crash. Shockwaves attack range has been increased by about 20%. Activation Shockwaves attack range increased by about 50%. On Earthbreak, okay. And Advanced Earthbreak, the activated Shockwaves attack range has been increased. Are these skills that you really use? Is this even a small buff? Do people even use these skills? Where are my zeros at? Do you guys use these skills? Power Stomp, Jumping Crash, Earthbreak. Isn't this like mid-game? Like when you're leveling up to 200? Well, maybe early game even. Like leveling up to 200? Or do you use these even past it? Kinesis, major changes. The skill has been changed to a passive skill. Psychic Shield 2's effects have been changed to passive effects. Okay, that's fucking neutral. Ilium, Javelin, damage boost 75%, 95%, 165 to 200. Skill's going to change to be more accurate, 250 to 260. Damage boost reaction, 100 to 135. Number of hits on the Crystal Ignition from 4 to 5. Damage decrease from 1500 to 1400. It means the damage is going from 6000% to 7000%. That's pretty big. You will combo those? Okay, thank you, nice note. I think those are beta skills when you're using tornadoes on alpha. Gotcha, okay. The number of hits increased on reaction spectrum 5 to 6, and damage is going from 10,000 damage to 11,400. Okay, and then Gram Holder. There's a boss monster with the attack range skills. Oh yeah, the retargeting on the Gram Holder. I don't know. This is like in between a small and a large buff. I want to say big buff, but we'll see if there's more stuff that, and like once we get through everything to kind of like readjust. Okay, Endless Agony, the Abyssal Guard Break activated with skill actions decreased by about 36%. And if you have an edit where you can use the skill again while casting. This seems like small stuff, and it is kind of small. But I believe the Abyssal Recall change alone increases our BAs by 10% or something, from what I heard. So I think, hello? I think that consists of a large buff. Like, when you get 10% final damage in that short of an amount of time, I think that counts for big. Arc buff I already rare these days. Yeah, well, yeah, it's rare that we even get anything. True. Yeah, we haven't gotten buffs in quite a while. The last buff we got was a bug fix that Creeping Terror and Endlessly Starving Beast didn't consume Spectra upon summoning, which they did for years when they shouldn't have. Okay, and then this is the second part. Wait, memorize. Paladin fixation where you're moving the character will stop moving. Hold energy skill description has been changed. These are more skill fixes, right? Do you think anything big here? First measure announcement course level 25 was in a plan. Fixation by the Raven's Tempest duration in the description was shorter than the actual duration. Oh. When a shuriken created by a showdown challenge would track the enemies. Shortly the bloody pickup would dropped in an awkward decoration. Blade extension. If you use gigantic backstep, an awkward effect will be displayed. Adding the patch. This one? No, this is for August 31st. This is after the current one. The current update is adding the homecoming stuff, but no skill changes in the upcoming, or in the current patch that's going on right now. This is for the patch after homecoming. Scardor, is it the ASA draft fun interview, or the ASA draft fun interview? I thought about this too long and I can't figure it out. I know in Belgium everyone will say HUD interview, but I don't know in the Netherlands if people just use both of them. I've definitely heard the interview, I think, but Dutch people tend to use different articles. Like I've heard like HUD matras, for example. My mom says de deksel. I think in Netherlands they also say de idol, I think, and I think in Belgium they say het idol, but I think you can use both. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the interview is incorrect. Okay, cool. Yeah, it sounds wrong to me, but that doesn't mean that not everyone in the Netherlands could be saying it, you know? Because there's a bunch of things on the internet that I know are wrong, but everyone says them, so you're like fighting windmills. Like, you know, there's like a very, very popular trend online where people are like, tell me this without telling me this. And it's like, it's so fucking stupid because you can't tell without telling. Because you literally, like, do A without doing A. Like, it's impossible, right? What you're trying to say is, tell me something without saying it, right? Without literally saying it. Because saying is speaking the words, and telling is conveying a meaning without specifically using those words, right? So the specific, their words already exist to say what you're trying to say, which is tell me that without saying it, right? And then, but then people say, tell me that without telling me that. It's like, I feel like you like don't understand language on a level that like an average 11-year-old or a 12-year-old would have to. So that's how you really feel? No, there, I just did it. Okay. Hitting on a funny meme. No, I'm not hating on the funny meme. I think the meme is pretty funny, but I think the funniness of the meme is being stolen by people who like have the linguistic self-awareness of a 12-year-old. So Dutch people struggle. It's crazy. You mean with the English, with the particles? You mean? Tell us how you really feel without telling us how you really feel. Nice, thank you. With Dutch as well. I would struggle with Dutch as well if I had to start writing Dutch right now, because I haven't written Dutch like manually, like typed maybe a little bit, but like written with my hands probably in like 15 years. If I had to start writing sentences and shit, I would have to really start thinking like, is it OU? Is it AU? Is there one T? Is there double T's? Is it one D, double D? Like, holy shit. I would start getting confused too, man. My linguistic level is in negative sometimes. No, I get that. Don't I live in the Netherlands? No, I live in Belgium. You talk English 80% of the time nowadays? Yeah, for me, it's probably like 90 to 95% of the time. Okay, so mechanic changes. Hang on, we were doing this, okay? When using burst step or flash assaulter, they will now prioritize the direction of the direction key inputted. If there was no direction key input, they will prioritize moving in the direction the character is facing. Okay, changing your sword charmer to debuff with output on boss monsters, even though the stun did not apply. Okay, skills. Wait, skill fixes? This should be skill changes. There we go. Movement skills that made the character become in combat have been improved. The skills that have been changed are as follows: Night Lord, Shadow Rush, Windbreaker, Windwalk, Nightwalker, Rapid Evasion, Unwall, Backstep, and Blaster Ducking, so bobbing and weaving. Following skills have been changed so that they no longer deal damage to monsters if they hit more than a certain number of times without moving. Viper Serpent. Okay, so we're gonna have to run around with Lord of the Deep, Metamorphosis, and Frenzy. Oh shit! We can no longer AFK on DA. What the fuck? We're gonna have to move around in Culvert now, and not just not just go into Culvert and AFK, and then come back 3 minutes later to our score. Fire Poison, Archmage, Fire. Okay. Quiver Flow, Bolt Flow. These skills have been improved so that they are no longer affected by cooldown resets and skill cooldown reduction effects. Okay. I don't think that really affects anything. So BAM and AB update is after August 31st? On August 31st, yeah. And those are probably the two classes that get the biggest changes, I would say. Yeah, I guess Arc is not on the level. I would put it on small buff, I guess. But it's like in between. Weapon skills no longer activate special cores. So it seems like that's a general thing that they're doing, right? Making that the movement skills not accidentally trigger cores. And Pathfinder, yeah, true, yeah. Pathfinder also a big change, yeah. Making the movement skills not accidentally trigger cores and stuff, and not trigger the monsters, and not turn you into combat. A little bit more quality of life there. Shade changes. The debuff duration increased to 60 seconds on the Imp. Damage for Spirit Frenzy increased from 90 to 175. The feature with Spirit Frenzy's final damage would be increased if used when the Spirit Guardian Spirit used Spirit Frenzy has been removed. A feature with Spirit Frenzy's final damage is increased by 750% damage when used one time while the Guardian Spirit is active during focus. Is Aqua in here? Aqua, does this basically mean... Because I think if I remember correctly, I think this means that if you were doing it perfectly now, this might be a small nerf, but you won't have to do it near perfectly at all anymore, and it'd be way easier to get it off. But maybe any other shades in the chat can let me know. Because I believe you were able to do 2 special Spirit Frenzies during one Spirit Focus. Like the pink one, right? With the extra damage. But I think what they wanted to do is make it easier for people to activate it. Shade could not activate their main skill in a Spirit Frenzy when they wanted. We decided this was not appropriate for recent combat patterns, so we have removed the Spirit Frenzy buff from Spirit Bomb Maximum. Instead, we removed the Spirit. But I think it's just more utility. Creatures are capping since this change? Oh. I wonder if it consists big buff, though. Any chance for DMT? Double Miracle Time? Maybe. There's always a chance. It might be big. I don't know. They rely on a lot of their damage, I think, from Spirit Frenzy, though. Yeah, but I think they doubled the damage almost because instead of being able to use 2, now we can only use 1. But then that 1 is capped way harder. So even though they might be capping and doing way more damage on the 1 that they can do, they're only able to do 1 instead of 2. But it's easier to confirm the 1 fully in the damage and commit the full damage. Yeah, the debuff duration is also nice. Because I think now, how long is it now? I think it's 15 seconds now. I don't even think it's 30. I think it's quadrupled. What patch is this? This is the August 31st update. Yeah, it's in between small and big, but if they get more stuff down here, then I might go to big. Demons are passive, sure. Okay, Demon Slayer. Is this the one where Demon Bane just doubles in damage? Yeah. You can now activate the next hit of the skill without pressing the skill key repeatedly. You can now continue with the second, third, fourth hits even if you do not attack for certain periods of time. This will apply to the Enhanced Demons / during Demon Awakening as well. This is really nice quality of life. Metamorphosis Dark Orbs will no longer put the character in combat. Demon Impact output when hitting monsters have been improved. Demon Last duration for the Reinforced has been changed from 4 seconds to 15. Cerberus action has been changed. The action delay has been decreased by about 13%. And then Demon Bane's final damage is now increased by 90% if used during Demon Awakening, which is when people already use it. If you didn't have a Demon Slayer boss mule yet, probably make one. Blaster main's drooling at the thought of having to press fewer buttons like the DS. Definitely, yeah. Do we have a Starforge video feeling totally else? What is Starforge? Oh, you mean Star Force? Yeah, you can check !_ Star Force. I have some commands there. Are you looking? What are you specifically looking for? Mm-mm. 90% extra damage on Bane during Demon Awakening. Fucking disgusting. Okay, Blaster. Combination trading has been improved so that combination trading can be stacked even when canceling while in the air. Okay, and Shockwave Punch will now deal 220% damage, increased damage when attacking normal monsters. Is that even worth mentioning? Is this like, where are my Blaster mains in the chat? Is this even like a thing that was really a problem? We've got about an hour and 10 minutes left on Zunas. It's huge for Cernium. Yeah, are you zooming around in Cernium a lot? Oh, the damage, increased damage to normal monsters, you mean? Okay, sure. Oh, because they were just unable to kill there? Okay, I'll put small buff there. Boom. Kaiser Wingbeat, the skill has been changed so that it is only included in the limit on the number of times skills can be used with that. Dude, have Kaisers gotten anything in like the last 3 years? I feel like Kaiser in every single patch note is like a fucking joke. Did they got a little bit more damage on their fire stuff, right? But other than that, I don't think they got anything in like years. Oh, they got final damage, yeah. Yeah, in Destiny they got some final damage. That's true, that's true. Well, they didn't even get 25% final damage. They got 25 percentage points final damage on an existing, right? Or no, one was new and one was unexisting, I think? No, something like that. We get a new character in Reboot. Do you do the quests to grind the levels or do you kill monsters? Yeah, up to level 30 usually you do the quests in Goku. And then start with the theme dungeons after that. Cadena. You will now be invincible for 2 seconds after using this skill. The cooldown has been decreased from 50 seconds to 45 seconds. The skill is no longer affected by cooldown resets. Wow, look at that. 45-second iframe, Noah. Character can now move after binding the enemy. After using takedown, the battering attack will be activated with different power based on the number of additional weapon variety hits activated within 5 seconds. Slam all the keys. The battering attack and shockwaves will be used at the location where the skill was used first. They will be activated even if the enemy is not bound. The invincibility effect has been removed on that. I mean, aren't you going from like a 180-second iframe to a 45-second iframe though? That's worth at least mentioning like small buff, no? 95? Yeah, so now you have twice the amount of access to iframes, right? For like a lower level people, that's pretty big. Or let's still like struggling with mechanics and things. Ilium. Oh my god, more Jesus, look at how much more Ilium stuff is coming. Action delay when linked has been decreased by 6%. Action delay when not linked decreased by 8%. Skill changes with the crystal reaches 30, 60, and 90. The excess charge amount will be preserved. Yeah, Kappa. Come on, make an Ilium already, dude. Bless marks are no longer consumed when this skill is activated. The 100% stance applied when the skill is activated has been removed. Curse mark mastery, curse mark completion. Number of curse marks that can be stacked have been changed to 3 and 5 regardless of the skill level. Glory Wings issue fix if Javelin hits an enemy. Sometimes magic missiles would not be fired. The magic missile creation range has been increased by about 230%. Ranked or unranked League of Legends. I went from from level 3 to level 6 on my NA account, and my EU account is level 14. So I'll let you decide what I do in League of Legends. Glory Wing skills and changes that the curse marks are stacked up to the maximum on enemies hit. Nice. Creation distance has been increased by about 20% on Harmony Wingbeat. Grim Holder, the enemy search range has been increased by about 579%, and the Slash's attack range has been increased by about 80%. And so you hit so far on that thing now, and it targets everything. Soul of Crystal had a feature where you can use this skill with the down arrow key to consume all of your crystal pieces and create multiple soul crystals at once. Wait, that's not until this update? Damn, I thought this was already in the game. Okay, so Ilium is definitely staying on big. Lots of stuff coming for Ilium. Major changes. I think Ilium is already kind of an underrated class. It's a little bit high on the demand for skill activations and everything. It's a bit micromanage. Well, it's very micromanagey, but if you do that well, you get a lot for it. But yeah, it's very contrasted. Ilium is like Ho-Young, I think, where you can make it very complicated if you want to do all the things that the character possibly can optimally. But there's also situations for training when you could be the most lazy person in the fucking world. Like for Ho Young, you can just, if you cycle between your skills, you put a tornado on one side and you just spam an attack on another side. Or with I think we have the video actually for endgame. I think we have it here. Class page input, yeah. Endgame, hang on. Here, endgame training. Where's Ilium? Is it? Endgame training, boys. Wow. Crazy. Crazy mob and be like. This is like 20k monsters an hour. Easy mode. Okay, and then Lara just... Jesus, these Lara changes, bro. Damage increase 215 to 260, 63 to 90. Damage increase from 120 to 145. Lava damage increase from 85 to 110. Volcanic bomb increase 75. So they wanted to make it so that it wasn't like always erupt water and wind and then consume, or expression, whatever it's called here, the fire. So they made them like closer together that you can do whatever you want basically. Ball TP ball. Yep. And you have to resummon the ball sometimes as well. Portuguese? Singular. Okay. Now flow through the middle part of this. Okay. Expression river. Okay. Are they going to make this skill useful at all? No longer affected by skill effect transparency. Oh god, that's worse. Speak Portuguese now. You can now float through the middle part of the skill. Even while you're in the air, the middle area has been increased by 205%. Okay. Absorption, damage decrease from 590 to 510. Number of hits increased from 6 to 10. Desolate Winds, damage decreased from 255 to 250. Number of hits increased from 2 to 3. Dude, all of these skills are just doing so much more damage. No, itu. Nature Master just increases everything so much more. Swelling River damage increased from 540 to 750. Oh wait, I think I was one zoom in closer, maybe two. Sorry. Whirlwind damage increased from 295 to 445. Sunrise Wells Giants increased from 485 to 750. Lava 290 to 420. These are big changes. Big increases. And in terms of GMNC, Slumber Awakening's damage boost increased from 45% points to 95% points. They're just boosting all their stuff, basically. A Borb? I don't know if... For Lara, if he would... It's definitely a buff. But there's no damage, there's no buff to... It's more DPM buff, right? Which is kind of what they needed. So I'll be... Like on the right side, classes. And this one is here in the class grid. That's this one. Skill fixes, paladins, divine charge, used flash slash towards an enemy at the end of a platform. Sometimes you would fall. Yes. Yes, I had this on Hero during Lucid. I used it a few times and then it just fell off. What the fuck, bro? I was not expecting that. I thought it was just a fluke the first time, but nope. Alleviate the minimum cooldown applied to the Beholder Shock activates a cooldown reset effect. Okay, okay. Stop doing this thing. Ignite will now be removed when you change maps. Ice aura would continue to stack freeze while dead. Oh, it should, dude. Beijar. Cancel is 2 L's, yeah. Fixing issue where teleport could not be used after jumping in equilibrium mode if you did not learn Dark Light Mastery. Huh. Is 235.90 ID, 130 boss damage, 15 stats? 15 stats? 15k stat usually, right? For Lotus Damien? Definitely, yeah. For comparison, people who have like solid basics at this point can kill Lotus and Damien at like level 220 with like 7 or 8k stat. If they know what they're doing. Like link skills usually carry there, but if you have 15k, you probably should be able to do it no problem, even with even without link skills. Sorry, guild skills. You probably always want to use the link skill. So to use a micro missile container damage skins. The damage skins of other mechanics in the same map would be mixed in. That's so weird. Oh, more Ilium changes? When you use a crystal portal on a ladder or rope, if there's no platform within teleport range. The Falcon. Would the portal range no longer be activated? The Dromeland. Man. Pretty sure Abyssal Recall's final attack would be activated multiple times. Bro, spam that shit. Dude, if you want to crash your game, Noah, activate multiple Abyssal Recall bursts. Fixed an issue where certain effects were output awkwardly when Abyssal Recall was reused to activate the final attack. They should have kept that. That would have been nice, dude. Depending on how many inputs you do. And then common skill changes of 700 Days of Maple. Number 1. Ring of Restraint. Area's width have been increased by about 24%. If you think that's a lot, there's a later update coming where it's going to be increased by another 50%. You can now use Spider in the Mirror and Crest of the Solar while jumping. Lightning Form skills improved with the teleport. When double tapping arrow keys are no longer activate special cores. Final Blow attack range has been increased by about 7%. The time it takes to link to Beyonder has been decreased by 17%. This does not apply if Final Blow activated by Smash Swing's third hit. Sure. Beyonder attack range has been increased by about 23%, and first hit's action delay has been decreased by 22%. Wild Falcon, prioritize attacking the boss monster. Mecha Carrier, prioritize the boss monster. Xenon, action delay for diagonal chase decreased by 17%. That's good, because that was pretty shitty. The boys are coming to the Netherlands. What should I feed them? All of the boys? Kibbeling? You should get some kibbeling, dude. But an hour a rifle. Chain Arts Fury, the duration has been increased from 60 to 75 seconds and cooldown increased from 155 to 185. Noah, this is a good change though, right? Because now Chain Arts Fury is synchronized with your other shit and 15 seconds more uptime. Because you hold it anyway for the same buff, right? 1% final damage? That's it? Not very pog. Easy clap. Spotlight have been improved to save by buff freezers. Hey! Adele Shard have been improved to prioritize marked enemies. And this skill has been improved to be saved by buff freezers. Wow, that's all the Adele changes so far I've seen in the last 3 patches. Ilium! Crystal Gate skills have been improved to Crystal Gates are saved by buff freezers. Our competitive skills have been improved so the number of targets that can be attacked is higher than the number of Abyss energies. They will attack the boss monster with the highest maximum HP in order. Skills have been changed to be more accurate. Infinity Spell. The skills have been improved so that the additional Abyss energies created from Infinity Spell will now prioritize attacking the boss monster with the highest maximum HP. Was this ever... Oh, this was a problem in like Varus Hilla, right? where the Infinity Spell marks would like fly onto little shitters on the ground instead of on the onto the Varicella. Eternally Starving Beast, the skill has been improved so that the time before the attack is activated is now displayed as a buff icon. I wonder if this will mean that the attack will actually activate. Because if you put a beast down and you don't use any skills, the attack just goes away. Even though the attack specifically says using attacks while this is on the ground will speed up how quickly it's activated, implying that it will be activated regardless, but you can just speed up how quickly it does. But if you don't do any attacks, it just won't activate at all. You won't get anything. It just goes away. Is there a link for this doc I could look at? Which one? I have 2 docs open right now. This one is under !mark classes, and if you are in there and you click on the link here, expected GMS changes, then you will get the one on the left. So they're in the same area. As was hit by an attack during Infinity Spell and the Abyss energies are created, all 3 additional Abyss energies have been changed to prioritize the boss monsters with the highest. Yeah. I guess for specifically, I guess this will come just in time for my Varicella solo in October. It'll be the day before October. This will be in the game, so it'll be perfectly timed for me. So I could do Varicella with this shit. Hoyoung Sage Teasing. Oh, Hoyoung changes. Pause champ. A skill has been improved so that the clones activated during Sage Teasing will now prioritize attacking the boss monster with the highest maximum HP. You don't need this? You will one-shot Vihilla? No, not even remotely close. I've tried like going into Vihilla before. One of my full burst solo is not even an HP bar. I don't think you understand how much HP Varicella has. If we need 2 or 3 bursts at 6 people, that means we need at least like 4 to 6 bursts solo. Remember the change that supposedly stops Xenon and BTs from pulling 2 wills into a single dimension? Yeah, it's still doable. Jesus. Use a solo normal Hilla HP? Yeah, but I'm still going to have to do at least 3 big bursts, I believe. So it's at least still a 10-minute run, and I have to stay perfectly alive in between those. Skill fixes. Following gauge UI will move off the screen and would sometimes move behind other UIs when changing resolutions. Huh. Yeah, your burst is higher now because you're liberated, right? Fixed issue with the reverse key status effect did not apply to the movement direction of the following skills. Viper, Screw Punch, Striker, Salgar, Zero Burst. What about the up jumps? The change is supposed to go live today? Nope, this is the August 31st update. There's no skill changes in the current, in today's update. I'm prepping this for the future update. So link to these changes. Yep, all available through Orange Mushroom, all available through the classes grid, all available through the link here. Paladin armor effect. These are all just minor changes. Applier would sometimes disappear when installed in Magnus. Oh, that's not good. Lumi, Demon Trace, and Demon Bane together. Sometimes Demon Bane's cooldown would not. Wait, where if you use Demon Trace and Demon Bane together, sometimes Demon Bane's cooldown would not be applied? Wait. Oh god. Well, I just gave advice on how to abuse bugs right now, I guess. Imagine getting multiple Banes. What the fuck? That's illegal. Fixing issue with summon beating needle bats skill description, where it stated that the skill's damage would be increased when hitting less than the maximum number of monsters instead of the final damage. Oh, true. That's why it hits so hard. Okay. Alright. Okay, so double checking with all of that we just went through. Do we feel good about these? Okay, so Adele, pretty neutral. Yeah, I mean, just a little bit of quality of life, but not even a buff, just quality of life. Angelic Buster, big, yes. Aaron, pretty neutral. I don't know. I guess I'll do small buff because they got that bigger hitbox for their main attack speeds. Like, main attacking skills, like 23%. Bigger box on their main attacking skill. I guess that warrants like small buff, I guess. Battle Mage big buff, definitely. Beast Tamer no info. Bishop nothing. Blaster a little bit. Blaze Wizard nothing. Bowmaster definitely a little bit. Buccaneer not enough to warrant. Cadena small buff, yeah. Cannoneer nothing. Corsair nothing. Dark Knight nothing. Dawn Warrior absolutely nothing. The demons both huge buffs. Yes, agree with that. Dual Blade, not enough to warrant. Evan, definitely small buff on a burst. Maybe even considering a large buff, but we'll have to see BAs and how much they go up. I don't know. Info, of course. Hero. Ho-Young, just, you know, a little quality of life thing. Nothing, not worth mentioning as a buff. Ilium, a bunch of stuff. Big Ilium update probably on August 31st. Chat, no info. Kane, small buff. Kaiser, Okana. Okana should also be no info. Kinesis, like one skill turned into a passive, big whoop. Kaiser, nothing changed. Lara, big buff, all of the damage basically on all of the skills going up, so more DPM. Luminous, small buff. Marksman, nothing happening. Like more range on the bird. Whoop-de-doo. Mechanic, some more final damage, but not crazy. Barely makes it into a small buff, I would say. Mercedes, nothing. Mihal, just two quality of life things, not worth mentioning as a buff. Night Lord and Night Walker, not really anything worth mentioning. Paladin, just a bunch of fixes, but no real buffs. Also just quality of life a little bit improved on things. Pathfinder buff, I don't know if it consists of a large buff just with the extra tornado skill. We'll have to see how the BAs go. I hope for Pathfinder that it's significant though, and I hope they can enjoy that update. Phantom wasn't even mentioned. Shade, yeah, so buff with the longer debuff, and then the extra damage on the squiggly tornado on the ground. Again, don't know if that's small or big. Well, again, we'll have to see based on the changes. Same thing with the did I go past Arc? I completely skipped past Arc. Yeah, Arc also probably still small, but might be between small and large as well, based on how much the BA goes up. Shadower just had some skill fixes. Thunderbreak wasn't even mentioned, I don't think. Wild Hunter, yeah. Damage prioritization, it's whatever. Wind Archer not really mentioned. Xenon, extra damage on the big cannon is going to be significant enough for a small buff. And in Zero, a bunch of small changes together that I think altogether consist of at least a small buff. So we don't know for August 31st if there are going to be more Beast Tamer, Jet, Kana, and Hayato stuff. Hopefully, maybe a little bit. I was actually really disappointed that Hayato got just absolutely nothing in Destiny. A lot of classes got a lot of cool stuff, and I feel like Hayato just was... People forgot that was even a class in the game, and that doesn't sit quite well with me. But I guess Hayatos are probably pretty happy that at least it didn't get nerfed like Kana, so... You know, if that was the alternative, then maybe it's better to be forgotten, right? So yeah, that'll be my update. So I think the biggest winners are Lara barely scoots in there, you know, with like a high A rank, low S rank. But like I would say Ilium, the demons, and then Battle Mage and Angelic Buster are definitely the big winners. And then Lara just making it there. For the characters getting big buffs, I would say in August 31st. And then there's a few characters that have some small buffs. But for most classes, there's not too much changing. Then, of course, once that update is live, August 31st, around there, I'll make sure to check out and try to make a guesstimation on how the Cygnus Knights remaster and all the things around that, maybe the first update now that KMS is getting after that, how those two updates are going to change the classes in here. So those two are not included yet in these prediction changes here. So again, if you want to double check this, I still have to update this here as well. That's going to be a lot of work that we're going to somehow get into in the next coming weeks. This is under ! classes in my commands. And then the link with the skill rebalancing stuff is right here in the header of it. You can also check out here if you want to. The details and sometimes specific classes are mentioned as well. And that'll help you keep track of all of this. Sometimes the pictures aren't loaded because there's just too much stuff going on. And this is all taking off of Orange Mushroom's patch notes when he looks at KMS. Speaking of which, I don't think we have any KMS Tespia stuff yet after this. No. It's actually kind of crazy because we are getting this. And we are basically only one update behind now, which is just the Cygnus Remaster. Other than that, we've caught up on everything.